Hey everyone, welcome to Guilds of the North, your one-stop shop for Guild Ball news in the Great White North. As always, I'm your host Paul Fenley here this week, for the first time in a long time, with my buddy B. Steve.
Hi Paul. Yeah, it's been a while. We didn't record since the week before the East Canadian Nationals, so
that was like May, right?
Yeah, it's almost 2 months since we put something out on the airwaves.
Well then, Steamforge and us have a lot in common. It's been that long since they did anything of importance.
Well,
it's been a pretty slow summer for Guild Ball so far.
Well, they did enter a phase of better rules, so.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some free city draft shenanigans stuff.
Yes.
I say shenanigans because Gaffer's complete BS.
Fun. You mean fun, Paul. You kind of mixed the letters up, I think.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah, I was having fun.
Yeah, no, actually, he's quite good.
He's different from.
He really legitimizes the Mortician's takeout game, I think.
Yeah,
I think he makes it very interesting. If you want to play a BD Morticians, but we'll get to that later. First, let's. Why don't we talk a little about the East Canadian Nationals, because those were coming up last time we recorded.
Yeah,
and we haven't done anything since.
Well,
so let's recap that a little bit briefly.
We managed to get 40 paid registration. So the winner did get his entry and hotel for SteamCon 2020, because there won't be any SteamCon 2019 right. At World. And
we're just hoping there's still a Steamforge in 2020.
Yeah, well, should be. They're probably going to release another Kickstarter soon, so they're going to float for another while.
We're so terrible. I'm terrible. You would never say stuff like that. I'm horrible. I'm sorry.
Well, I just said it.
Yeah. You're riding my coattails.
Yeah. You're rubbing on me.
I'm being, yeah. That sounds dirty, but anyway.
You're rubbing off on me or something like that.
Thank you, yes. That only sounds slightly better.
Instead of,
yeah.
So, without that big of a surprise, the East Canadian National was won by Alex Bott with Vedbor. So,
who, for those who don't know, is arguably, the best Guild Ball player in North America.
Yeah.
At least one of the top, I don't know, let's be generous and say, top 5.
Yeah, for sure.
Probably more of the top 2, but...
So, and he managed to pull it with Vedbor.
Well, there's a shock.
Yeah, exactly.
Though he's actually the only guy that's managed to win a major event with Vedbor, I think. At least in North America.
Yeah, exactly, because even though, Vedbor's win rate is still...
insane?
Yeah, it's still skyrocketing. I mean, if I would check for the stats right now, probably it's still up in the 60% win rate.
Okay, 62. We don't need to hear you weeping on the podcast.
But...
I don't want to hear your open sobs.
That's okay.
On mic.
But usually they perform really well. We'll do 4-2 on a 6-round event or 3-1 or something like that, but rarely win. And he was able to make it worthwhile for his trip from Chicago, I guess.
That's good. Well, I think he told me when I spoke to him at Adepticon that when he wasn't sure to come, that he really liked Montreal and was hoping he'd be able to make it. So hopefully, win or lose, it was worth his trip.
Yeah. The event went really well. We thought, depending on the pair down, we could have ended on 5 rounds on one day, but because of the way the pairing went and everything, we finished on 6th round on the Sunday.
So Sunday was only 1 round?
2 rounds. We did 4 rounds on the Saturday.
Oh, to make it easier.
Yeah, because we knew that it was because if...
Well, people had booked for 2 days anyway, right?
Yeah, exactly, but we didn't know, for sure that the 5th round would be the last, so we didn't want to stop after 5 and then just come back for 1 round, which would have been less meaningful, and like people don't like to get up just for one game and everything. So, instead
No, I think that was the right choice.
we went for 4-2 and went really well. On my part, I played Hunters. I switched last minute because there were no Hunters, so I won Best Hunter by default.
Cunning.
Yeah, exactly.
Cunning.
I finished 3-3, so that's not too bad. Had some.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah.
50%. That's
That's
50% better than my last score. So at the tournament.
I faced 3 farmer during the tournament out of 6 games, so it was.
Was one of them Antoine? Antoine?
Yeah,
Metras?
I faced
Not,
Antoine Metras.
was he playing Grange?
Yeah, of course he was playing Grange. He's the only farmer player out there playing Grange.
You know what? I really admire that.
Yeah, he didn't get
plays-
the memo.
No, it's not that. He plays what he likes,
I know.
and I think that's really cool. I wish more people did that.
And the other 2 were farmers. I had a game against Marc-Antoine Leclerc with his Order? of the Saltician, and I lost 12-2 on the first activation of the second turn. It was quite memorable. It was bad.
Wow.
Yeah,
I don't recall them being that good, Steve.
he was 8-2 at the end of the first turn. So, and he won.
Don't get me wrong. I think they're good. I just don't recall them being that good.
Yeah.
Did you not take the ball of light away from them?
I tried, but it was too little, too late.
Because that's the kryptonite, right?
Yeah, and Brisket was able to, with her legendary, to get a goal as well with a bit of help from the dice, but it was just like a bit below average for his odds. But he wanted to try it and it worked, so good for him, I guess.
Well, sometimes you gotta take that long shot, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But her legendary can be used a lot. Not as good, obviously, but very similar to how people use Yukai and his legendary, right?
Yeah, with the Fishers.
The teleport and the place and ball steal. So.
Yeah, and the other movement after her legendary, it's a dodge, so it's pretty useful as well because the other person can just get out of there. So,
yep.
So it was a really fun event, and hopefully there can be some other big event in Montreal. Well, there's Warzone coming second weekend of September.
Oh, I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah.
Do you have any info? Maybe we could share some info about that if you have.
Well, it's capped at 16 player for a 4-round tournament. And the registration and everything, it's on Warzone Montreal, and it's going to be on this Saturday for the Guild Ball tournament. And all the
16 players, 1 day.
Yeah.
How many rounds is that?
4 rounds.
That's not bad. I can do 4 rounds.
Yeah, even you can manage it.
When is that?
September 8th.
Yeah. So I'm not going to make it to Nova this year. So that could be a good alternative. It's local. It's not, doesn't involve a 10-hour drive to Washington.
Oh, it's September. It's September 7th this Saturday.
So it's not the 8th.
No, it's Saturday.
So you were lying to me.
7th of September. Sorry.
You were trying to eliminate me before I even started, Steve.
And closer to that, there's a summer taco ball as well on August 3rd.
Yeah, that's at the Abyss, right?
At the Abyss as well. So, this is going to be a...
Hold on, Warzone's at the Abyss? Did I miss that?
The taco ball is at the Abyss. The other one, the Warzone, it's in some high school in on the South Shore in Longueuil.
Right, because that's run by Zakeda, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I was all confused for a second, because you said something like, it's also at Abyss, and I was like,
No.
Really? The other store is running an event at what?
August 3rd is...
The world makes sense again. Excellent.
August 3rd, it's at the Abyss.
Okay.
And
I like it when the world makes sense, Steve.
I ordered the new tournament kit, which I have yet to receive. It's strange because usually Usually it takes 1 week from UK, and so should be I thought I would receive it last Wednesday, so.
Did you confirm it shipped?
Yeah, I got the confirmation for shipping, but obviously no tracking number, so. I'll have to.
Because last time I ordered something from them directly, it took about 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. I'll see Wednesday. So.
Because, things.
Things, exactly. So I think that's kind of about the news section. Or we can talk about the beta rule as well. This week we're in the third
iteration of them?
Yeah.
The third and potentially worst in my opinion.
But so far, yeah. That's the same opinion I have. So I think the sweet spot was last week. Was pretty good.
Last week I think might have been too generous. Well, let's talk about them so people actually know what we're talking about. So what are the 3 beta rules right now that we're testing, Steve?
Well, the first one is about not losing an activation when a player dies before, dies. Nobody dies in Guild Ball except in the fluff, but is taken out. So instead of losing the activation, you kind of get a pass token. And you, instead of having that last quote unquote activation with no activation, you decide where you want the opponent to have the double activation, the back-to-back activation.
Yeah, and there's no longer a pass token, right? That was last week's version.
Yeah, that was the first 2-week version.
So now the player who is down in activation gets to pick when his opponent activates twice in a row. Is that essentially the?
Yeah, that's. I think that's how it's done now.
Okay, that's not what I thought, but I must have misread it. I thought that hadn't really changed much since last week, but I guess I was wrong because that's a drastic departure from what we had previously.
Well, last week the thing is you could instead of using the pass token for.
Oh, actually, sorry. Yes,
the activation.
It's the way you said it. It's actually the same.
Yeah.
So you basically pass your turn at any point during the round.
Exactly.
Which makes your opponent activate twice in a row. Sorry, the way you said it, I was thinking of something completely different. But effectively, it's the same.
Except last week, you could forfeit that choice and have it last like now, but you gain a momentum in exchange for that.
So basically, you end up playing it the way it plays currently. But you got a momentum in exchange for that pass token.
Exactly.
So at least you got some kind of reward for missing an activation.
Yeah, but having the choice to decide when the double activation is, the back-to-back from your opponent, is kind of neat, actually. At first, I didn't really see the point, but after playing...
Oh, no, that's really good.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
Because you can control, if you see they're setting up for a goal run or whatever...
Yeah, well, actually, I did it with, he didn't have momentum, and I was able to do lockdown on a player with Mule playing minors, and then walk away. So he was down on movement, knocked down, and he was forced to do a bad activation before activating that player to try to generate some momentum to get that player up. So it didn't really penalize me to have him back-to-back activation there.
Yeah. You're not really giving up anything, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, clever.
The second one, they want to... I'll do like the first one and say the essence of the rule instead of where the rule is for now. So they want to try to give scoring team a better chance at winning the momentum race versus speed eating. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So
it makes sense. I don't know if they're actually doing it, but it makes sense.
So the first week was you got 1 momentum if you missed the shot on goal. You got 2 momentum for a goal. No, you got 3 momentum for a goal. No. And 4 for a screamer. Yeah, the first week was 1, 3, 4. And the second week was 1, 2, 3. And now this week it's only the momentum for the missing goal.
Are you sure it was 1, 3, 4? I thought it was just. Thought it was just it returned. I thought they basically went back to the first weeks this week. It was 1 for the missing goal. Yes, you got back your missing goal one.
No, It was 1-3-4 for 4 for the screamer, and then they changed it to 1-2-3 because it was easier to remember as well. And 4 for a screamer was pretty big, and now it's back to just 1 for missing the goal, and the other, the rest is the same as now.
Well, 4 for a screamer would be insane.
Yeah, 1-2-3 was pretty nice, actually. Sorry, but just getting that momentum back when you miss the goal is pretty nice as well. Because sometimes, like, you'll bonus time and you'll use your last momentum to bonus time, and unfortunately, well, Guild is a dice game, so dice will fail you from time to time.
Oh, believe me, I know.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why getting back that momentum, at least your striker, who is relatively squishy most of the time, will have something to kind of defend himself or herself. So that's pretty good. Well, not pretty good, but it's pretty interesting. So.
It's also pretty good. I would accept that.
Yeah. And I really preferred like 1-2-3, but we'll see, because so far they've been changing the rules every week. So I don't know if we have no hint of knowing if this week it's going to change as well. Only future will tell us.
Yeah. And then they added a third rule this week, right?
Yeah, but this, I think instead of saying a third rule with it, the H, you can just say a third rule.
A third rule? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about it. Explain what the rule is. Let's start there.
So, instead of, when you go for, you decide for initiative, instead of having the player that goes second having the momentum, it's the player who doesn't have possession of the ball who has the momentum. So, discuss.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest. Like, in some hand, like, on one hand, it can basically do nothing. On the other hand, it can be crazy powerful.
Well, I think
it seems like a very swingy rule, right? Like, situationally swingy.
Yeah, because I think the intent of the rule is to mitigate somebody who would put the ball on Dirge and move Dirge all the way back on near his line, so you wouldn't be able to reach the ball.
Yeah.
I think you can relate to that, Paul, right?
Yeah, because you're a jerk.
No. I know I'm a jerk. And so that, in that way, it would kind of discourage that behavior. So, like...
At least that's the hope, right?
Yeah, I think, well, from reading it and from my understanding, that's the general idea behind the rule. But,
well, that's certainly the intention of the rule.
But
yes.
In theory, it's so bad because it just means the player who has the ball gets charged if you lose the initiative, doesn't have the momentum, gets charged or attack, and the person who has the ball can do sweet nothing. Just like, hey, roll dice, man, have fun, and go and score. So that's really not good.
Well, I mean, that's why we're testing stuff, right?
Yeah, I know. And that one, I think it's gonna get tweaked or reworked. But
I doubt that one will stay for the end, too.
And it didn't get a good reception in the community as well. That one was far from well received, if I say.
Well, I think it's poorly conceived.
Yeah.
But, I think at some point also there, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way, I really think they're throwing stuff at the wall and just seeing what sticks.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, well, this is beta test, so let's just come up with the craziest stuff we have, and maybe, by accident, we'll find something that's really, really good.
That's possible. But, and stuff does stick, because, like, when they did the guild identity cards, back at the end of Season 2, beginning of Season 3, something like that, like, some rules did stay from those cards.
Yeah, for sure.
So, they were change and not use as card, but like the evolution of those cards became the new Guildel plot cards with the plus minus for influence and the modifier for initiative. So, also it varies our playtime as well during the summer, which is more relaxed. So it's not too bad.
It's important to keep the game fresh. And I think other game companies are saying it too. Like, I think in general.
Well, there's this CID for War Machine as well. So.
Well, CID has stopped, right?
Oh, okay. I didn't know. Sorry.
Yeah, they stopped doing it because I think it was too much too fast.
Okay. And
people were complaining about it, and it was causing a lot of problems. And it's hard to. Again, I'm just talking about here, but it's hard to balance stuff when you're making changes nonstop every month, or every couple months, and you're making some pretty big changes to stuff based off 2 weeks of playtesting, and it's or 2 weeks of public playtesting, I should say. And you don't necessarily have control over the quality of the playtesters or anything.
No, exactly. And for this,
or even the quality of the reporting they're doing. More importantly,
yeah, the reporting is on through the pundit, so the pundit are involved in something.
That seems weird.
Well, it's just try to channel all the comments in one place, I guess. It's easier to follow than reading everything on Gubs. It's a smaller
I realize. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, Steve. I said it was surprising. Because, and again, I'm not trying to, stir shit, but the pundit program, was probably, in recent history anyway, one of the worst, volunteer programs we've seen, right?
Yeah, well, it doesn't give you anything.
Right, and they weren't necessarily super vetted either. I mean, there are people who are pundits who haven't played the game in a year.
Yeah.
Right, and they keep, they're still there. Don't know what they do.
Well, they did a cleanse a couple of year and a half or two ago.
Yeah, and we lost some good pundits because they decided it wasn't worth the time.
Yeah.
And the dregs are still there. So, oh well. Maybe I'm just bitter and old. Well, and don't get me wrong, I don't want to be a pundit by any means.
Old.
I barely play, so.
Old, you're the same age as me, but bitter, yeah, that's for sure.
I don't even have a reason to be bitter, right? Pundits being around or not doesn't affect me at all.
No, and it doesn't really change anything to the community.
I have access to you, and I have access to Antoine.
Yeah.
So what the heck do I need a pundit for?
And I mean, anybody can run tournament. It doesn't have to be a pundit to run tournament.
Yeah, I wouldn't go so far as to say anybody can run a tournament.
Well,
I mean, realistically, yeah, sure, there's nothing stopping anyone from running a tournament, except for people's skill, aptitude, and time. Yeah.
Well, and devotion for the game.
Well, I was time. Right?
Yeah.
Because if you're devoted, you make time. I am actually painting Guild Ball right now while we're talking. Yeah, I know it's crazy.
Well, I painted some Guild Ball after playing a game with my girl this morning. So,
yeah, that was really awesome. How old is your daughter again? 9?
Yeah, she's 9.
She's 9 now?
Yeah, 9.5. And, well, we played like a year or so ago, and she was a bit...
Oh, more.
Was more?
Yeah.
But she kind of still remembers the basis of the rules. She doesn't know her card or anything, but she kind of remember, like, the base of the rule. And, of course, like, I play it, like, softer than usual. I didn't go all out.
Oh, really? You didn't park the ball in the far corner and be like, come at me, bro?
No, I didn't do that. And I didn't, like, do counterattack and defensive stance and stuff like that. I did some basic, like, bonus time with the momentum, and we didn't play with the cards as well, like the Guild Plan card as well.
But you played on clock, right?
No, I didn't play on clock as well.
But Steve, that's your greatest power is managing your opponent's clock for them. That's what you're famous for.
And also,
lightning hands.
And also, yes, And also, like, I guided her for her goal. She did a goal, but I helped her a bit. And also, for one of the takeout, I explained her how to do it a bit, like, because it was a ring out. So.
Okay.
And
take credit for her successes, Steve, like every good father.
No, I help her.
That's what I do.
It ended up in 12-6, so she was really proud that it was not 12-0, and she enjoyed her time.
Yeah, so she plays as well as I do. Excellent. I found a new opponent.
Exactly. And because she doesn't know all the rules, so she kind of forgot about the heroic on Friday because she said, no, I want to score, but I'm missing a couple of inches and she's too far. I said, yeah, but look at the back of your card. You have a heroic play and then you just need to generate momentum. And so like stuff like that. And instead of having her like sprint and do an attack with Friday, I told her, well, you should charge because you'll have more dice and you have an assist there as well. So small things like that.
Well, small things make a big difference in miniature games, right?
Yeah.
That's cool. That's, memories she'll have of you forever now. So that's awesome.
And after that, she saw my models were starting to be painted and she said, yeah, Dad, can you get the airbrush and prime my models? I want to paint them. I was, yeah, sure. Why not? So she started to paint Friday.
Good for her.
Yeah.
Actually, I saw it. You know what? For a first-time painter, and a 9-year-old at that, Friday looked pretty good. She had some interesting color choices. There was some contrast on her.
Yeah. A bit of highlight. She's lacking in detail, but the thing is, she took a brush and I said, well, just be careful when you apply it. Take your time because like you have a tendency to like, go outside
the lines.
Outside the line. I said, yeah, but Dad, my brush is crap. So I said, okay, well, I didn't see, she took an old, rosemary and I had, that was mostly used for, scenery because it was really crap because it's used and I keep those for,
for scrap brushes.
Yeah, scrap brushes. And I didn't see she picked that. So I had, Raphael, on the table.
8404?
Yeah, something like that. And she said, well, yeah, use that one. It should be okay. And that's when she got the result you saw in the chat. So the brush does make a difference.
Absolutely.
Especially in the hands of a 9-year-old. And it was so much cleaner after.
Actually, watching how she painted, you sent a picture, right?
Yeah.
She was working on her. Your daughter has the strangest, painting position I have ever seen. And I've taught kids before, right? I've probably taught, over 100 kids. And I've never seen anyone hold a model that way. I understand why she does it.
Well, that's what Antoine said, like, for stability, but like her hands were, her arm were crossed and she was like, wow.
And her wrist was bent at 90 degrees.
Exactly.
It was very, unergonomic, shall we say.
Yeah. But like Antoine said in the chat this afternoon, it's okay, she's young, she can do that.
Yeah. Like, I got a cramp, just looking at it.
Wow. Okay, well, if it works, I mean...
Yeah. And you don't want to try to correct her.
Exactly.
You don't want to try to correct her at that point, because it'll discourage her, because it'll be like you're picking on her, even if you're just trying to help. But
I've noticed, like, patient is not her greater strength for now, so...
she's 9, right?
So she did a bit of, on Friday, and then she said, well, I'll do the cat, and then she did the ball as well. So I'll try to make her have more details on Friday tomorrow, and a bit more detail like on the cat. Because she chose the Brewers because their mascot is a cat, and we have 2 cats. So... wise decision.
Yes, you do.
Susie has 2 cats.
Oh no, Steve, I believe they're yours. Rules of common law and stuff.
It seems.
You inherited 2 cats along with the mortgage and everything else.
But speaking of gaming, we did have a game last night with some shiny new toys.
Yeah.
So we should mention that this is recorded on Monday, but it's going to be released on Wednesday because of
due to embargo dates
embargo.
Yeah.
And we want to respect that embargo.
Well, yeah, because we want to get more releases later on.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we played a game. I got to play Knuckles.
Yeah, exactly.
And you played Gaffer.
Did I play Gaffer or I played the Careless Whisperer?
You played the Careless Whisperer. No.
I think you should replace that sound with the actual wave. I can find you the sound and you
no.
edit and cut.
I'll leave it. No, I'll leave it in there with you and your terrible saxophone, whatever that was.
Yeah, and I was doing it a couple of times, and at one point you said, "Okay, Steve, stop. I'm gonna pack my mini and leave."
Yes. In fact, I believe that was said. There was a whole. Keep doing that, and I'm just gonna leave.
I think this is worse than me singing "Let It Go" in French.
Well, at least okay, maybe.
Because it was only once per game, but this is once per turn. And at some time, I did the sax sound as well when I was attacking somebody who had the whisper token, so.
Yeah. This is probably a bad sign. I'm priming some models by hand.
Why?
Because I'm recording, and my name is not Yom, so I don't use the airbrush.
Oh, okay.
Actually, he says he never did that.
I know, but sure I know it happened for sure. And at one point, I'm going to re-listen to all our backlog episodes just to find and pin.
Well, that would be kind of. Well, actually, I guess you can skip all the News of the North stuff because, Guilds of the North. There's only a few episodes, like 15 or something. Geeks of the North. We're in the 70s now, and but News of the North was the crazy long.
Yeah, because it was for 2 years every week. So
yeah.
So back to the player.
Yeah. Sorry,
we kind of digress. And do you want to talk about Knuckles or I talk about Gaffer? Well, why don't you talk? I've been talking a lot so far. So
well, you're getting the most out of your liquid English. I think is the here. Let me clean my brush. Well, I let the first coat of primer dry on.
That was really good, by the way. It was a stout.
Yeah, mine was good too. So we had a joke yesterday because Steve gave me a cider, and that's what I usually drink. But the cider I drank smelt kind of like it would be a dry cider. Tasted like it was kind of. It wasn't really sweet, but it wasn't dry. It had the most neutral taste I've ever had. So it's a very safe cider, so I'd call it. You don't know what your friends drink? You get that. It won't be too sweet for the people who like dry cider. It won't be too dry for people who like sweet cider. It's all good. And maybe that's what they were going for, right?
Yeah.
The every man's cider. Anyway, yeah. So I played Knuckles. Now, I'll say straight up, Knuckles is really designed for a Corsair list. I have very little interest in playing a Corsair list, so I played him with Yukai, which is less than ideal. And so my opinion may be colored a bit. So let's just, we'll go through his playbook. I'm not going to go through it all, but a couple of interesting points. Well, first off, his stats, he's a 5'7", so he's fairly slow. He's got 6 tack, he's got a 3-6 kick, and he's a 3-1 model with 2-4 influence.
And standard 2-inch melee for fish.
And standard fish 2-inch melee because he's swinging an anchor around.
That's really cool, though.
His playbook, momentous push on 1. His tackle's on 2 non-momentous. What makes him really interesting is he has an ability on the 3rd column, momentous guild ball, which is heavy tackle. And its target enemy model loses possession of the ball to this model and suffers the knockdown condition.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it is amazing because it gets around close control. And looking at this, Steve, I think I may have done something wrong. Can you use that on a model that doesn't have the ball? I think you can. Because it's and.
Yeah.
So you can use it. I think you can use it on a model that's not in possession of the ball. So that's just a knockdown on 3 at that point.
I guess momentous knockdown on 3. Yeah, probably.
Which means the knockdown that's on 4 is, I guess, good for parting blows and stuff, right? 'Cause
Yeah, exactly.
You can't proc Guild Ball plays on parting blows.
Perfect. Yeah.
Also,
you knew your rules.
Well, some. Occasionally. What's also cool is he has not only a 1 and 2 on columns 1 and 2 for damage, he has a 3 on column 5 and a 4 on column 6.
And it's the first fish with a 4 damage.
Yeah.
Native.
Now, what's important to note is he's got 6 tack, so no other fish player aside from the captains have 6 tack.
Yeah.
And what's even more important to note is that if you look at the other side of his card, he's got a new ability called Backfield Presence. So when he's attacking a model that is in possession of the ball, he gains an additional 2 tack. So on a charge, you're looking at 12 tack into a guy with the ball.
That's pretty nasty.
Yeah. And you can, almost guarantee wraps.
Yeah.
At that point. Or you come close to wraps on most models, which is pretty cool. And at 3 columns, you can guarantee the Guild Ball play, I think, at that point.
Yeah, but if you wrap, depending on the model, you can soften them by doing a non-momentous 4 and a momentous push, should they decide to counter and dodge away. So you bring the model back closer to you.
Yeah.
And then if it stays there.
And you want to bring the models closer to you.
Exactly. And then you can just pound it back with the rest of your influence and still get the +2 tack because they still have the ball.
Yeah. And the other thing is, the reason you want to bring things back into your line with him is then you'll get some crowd outs, right?
Additional crowding out.
Yeah, so his next ability, Close Ranks, when this model causes an enemy model to suffer the crowding out penalty, the enemy model suffers an additional -1 dice pool. So if you're crowding out someone that has the ball, they're gonna be at -2 to kick, -2 to everything, right? It's just brutal.
It's pretty bad. The lightning reflects. Oh, because I didn't dodge, right?
Well, you did, but I also had forgotten stuff, right?
Oh, yeah, because there was a couple of times with Scalpel I did some damage dodge, but it wasn't really relevant for you to dodge towards me,
out
probably.
there, yeah. No, exactly. And later on in the game when it might have been relevant, I completely forgot about the rule.
There's another rule I completely forgot about.
Yeah, so he's, actually, let's go back. He's got, like I said, he's got lightning reflexes like,
Skull.
Scorch.
In the rats.
Yeah. So very, very good. And then, last but not least, he has resilience. Which, there was a couple times where Steve grabbed his 8 bajillion dice, and he rolled into him, and he's like, oh, I got 7 successes. And I'm like, actually, resilience procs.
That was the first time I was so pissed.
Yeah.
I charged with gas and I completely forgot about the resilience. And then later on, the turn after, I reminded.
This was the last turn at this point. I was out of clock. I was trying to make my goal run.
Yeah, it was.
You were trying to stop me.
And I was so, tunnel vision into stopping you, I completely forgot about resilience again in the same game.
Yep.
That was bad.
In the end, it didn't matter because I didn't get my run off. It was just too far.
But still forgot about resilience twice.
Yeah.
Because
that made it all worthwhile, to be honest.
Because it's not really usual for fish to have resilience. I mean, we used to it in brewers, but fish, not really.
Yeah. And of course our lineup, especially with Kraken and stuff, Kraken gravity wells people into him, and this guy's standing next to him for the extra crowding out. It's like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're going to get murdered.
That's going to be a nice pounding. And you're going to get to use coup de grace a couple of times. Every turn, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, I'm wondering, backfield presence, how does it interact with the ball of light for Solticians?
Yeah, because
it says in possession of the ball.
Yeah. But the ball of light is...
It's not the ball, though, right? It's a ball.
Yeah, but it's you're in possession of a ball.
But Knuckles' card says possession of the ball, not a ball. But I don't know if it interacts with ball.
But it's the ball of light, so it's...
Yep.
It's still...
The ball of light is not the ball.
Hmm.
Yeah. I think we're going to have some ride on that. But anyway, it could be funny if it interacts with ball of light.
Oh, it's going to be so
someone.
bad against...
Murderize someone for fun.
Yeah, it's going to be bad for them. At least you can, like, travel the ball of light all over the place, so it's really static. But, yeah, you don't want that.
It sounds fun.
But the game went not too bad on your part. I mean, you were...
No, I had a strange lineup because I lost count of how many models I drafted because I wasn't really paying close enough attention, and then I kind of painted myself into a corner.
Well, I offered you to flush Angel and take another one.
Yeah, I was going for the Angel Fathom combo, then realized I was actually out of models to pick. Yeah, it's good job, Paul. So I had Yukai as my captain, and Tentacles my mascot, of course. And then I had Vetsicana, Knuckles, Angel. Who am I missing here?
Vetsiren.
Vetsiren, yeah.
I think you were traumatized about me killing the ball, that you had all the shenanigans to get to the ball.
Well, I was playing into Morticians, right? So killing the ball is a viable tactic, and I wouldn't have held it against you for doing. So the game we played before Nationals, where you basically abused me, it was my own fault. I should have taken a more versatile team, and I was just playing like I was in Season 2, and grabbed a typical Shark lineup, and then got murderized because you hid the ball from me, and there was really not much I could do. And that is a perfectly viable tactic, and nothing to be ashamed of, and stuff. So.
But that time I couldn't do that.
Well, yeah, that was the whole point, right? I took it. You mean you said you wouldn't do it because I think you were still feeling like I resented you the last time, which I did, but that, I realized that's, on me, not on you. You didn't do anything wrong. So, I decided, I'm going to play smarter this time, and so I did.
Yeah, you were 8-2 by the end of the second turn?
Yeah. The problem is that I'd had to use Yukai's Legendary to get there.
Yeah.
And then a lot of my guys were far up the field, and people were starting to die. And I had no way to really gain control of the ball again. People were dying. People were far away.
You were more sparse all across the pitch, so it was harder.
I had a couple people very far up the pitch.
Yeah, you had
because I wanted someone to pass to, and you were covering them pretty well, right? You had a Scalpel on Vetsiren.
Yeah, because I really wanted to prevent the snapshot.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it was kind of easy, especially
since you know how to play. Yes.
Because because if I knew how to play, you wouldn't have been at 8-2. And but yeah, the thing is, in retrospect, we talk about it after the game. You put Vetsicana was too far in my line, so it kind of prevented you with a long range kick because he's 3-8.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, I'd used him with Yukai's Legendary to teleport him up to kick.
Yeah.
And we only played one turn after that, so I didn't really have a whole heck of a lot of opportunity to bring him back. Because that kick was on turn 2, and I think we only played 3 turns, didn't we?
4, I think.
Did
4?
we get to 4?
I think so. Maybe. I'm not sure.
I'm not really sure either. In any case, I should have moved him a bit further back. I think at one point you had him covered with Vet Graves. I would have taken probably a knockdown on the parting blow or something. Still would have been a little bit closer.
Yeah.
Anyway. Though a knockdown model doesn't help much for anything.
And on my part, I was testing Gaffer.
Yeah. How'd that go?
Well, first of all, I have to admit, I was...
Son of a... Sorry, what?
What? What?
I didn't say that.
Okay. I was part of the Lane for Mortician campaigning group, so I was kind of disappointed when Gaffer ended up in Mortician, because I really wanted another striker into Mortician. So he's a coach for his player type.
Well, let's be honest. You were concerned about him being a coach because our previous example of a coach is kind of poopy.
Yeah, it was Morn, and before that it was...
well, Morn didn't exist yet, so...
Yeah, it was Vet Honor at that time, and then they did Morn, and... Well, Morn is not that good as well, let's be honest. And so I was afraid. I was petrified.
Don't go there. I see what you're doing. Don't you go there.
I know, huh? So Gaffer is a 1-inch melee coach, and he's fairly slow, but okay for a mortician. So 5'7", attack 5, 2-6 kick, def 3-1, and influence 2-3. His playbook is pretty rubbish because he has a push on 1, a tackle, momentous tackle on 2, so that's not that bad. His guild ball plays on 4, which is hard to reach, and he has a momentous 3 on 5, which is attainable with help, with crowding out, and maybe help from Careless Whisper, which is his character play.
No, stop. No Careless Whispers.
So Careless Whisper is a new type of token, I guess, because it's a persistent token. So when a friendly model attack somebody who has a Whisper token, you get +2 attack. And
so it's like a singled out.
But a permanent singled out.
Well, only permanent until that model dies.
Yeah.
It's not truly permanent, because that would be broken.
And then
this is only mostly broken.
And because it's not singled out, it could be stacked with singled out as well. And so it's once per turn, and it's a range 4, and you can hard cast it for 2, or get it on the playbook for from the 4th column, which is momentous as well.
Do you have singled out in your...
Pelage has singled out, and Dirge has singled out.
Yes. Yeah, I forgot about Pelage.
And Dirge.
Yeah. I forgot about Pelage.
Yeah.
You're going to see a lot of that singled out Careless Whisper, I think.
Yeah.
That's going to be mean. Thank God you didn't play that. I would have, flipped the table and jumped and killed you.
Wow, that's not nice.
Well, we certainly wouldn't be recording tonight. That would have put a damper on our friendship, probably.
And the other ability he has is Red Fury. And it's just awesome.
Yeah, so it's like having Veteran Rage on the Mortician's team.
Yeah. Well,
except without the personal damage output.
So who would have figured that having Gas doing 6 attack in a turn would be good? Pretty awesome. So, well, that's mostly what I've used him for. I put a couple of Whisper token and then just use Gas to attack, and that's it. Most of the time it was my first activation, and that's how I was able to do a takeout on
That's all you needed to do.
Yeah, I did a takeout on Yukai and Knuckles, because Knuckle had the Whisper token, and at 3-1 it was kind of easy.
Well, you got 3 unmaskings in a row, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What the heck do I do against that, aside from die horribly?
So that was pretty much awesome. And he also has character trait. So he has the knowledge, which I completely forgot during the entire game. So
I was going to say, I don't remember what that does. But
yeah, once per turn, I can choose a friendly model within 6 inches, and that model has +0/+2 kick for the remainder of the turn. But against you, it was not a good idea to score, because you were 8-2 so fast in the game that if I had scored, I would have lost right after, because with the kickback. And he also has a legendary, which is called Handy Listeners Such As You Are, and you remove any Whisper token from
any number. So you don't have to remove them all, you just remove any number of them.
Yeah. You remove a Whisper token and place them anywhere on any other model on the pitch. So, if some model is pretty close to dying, you can do the legendary and then bring the fun back to other players. Which I forgot to do,
That's bullpucky.
It could have been useful.
Absolutely, it could have been useful.
Yeah. When
you were going to take out Yukai and
Knuckles.
Knuckles at the same time, you could have moved the tokens around.
Yeah, but
you only had one. You only had one in Knuckles, I think.
Yeah, but I killed them in. Oh no, I killed them in Gaffer's activation.
Because you killed them with Red Fury.
Yeah, right. So I could have done before my last attack. I could have done the. But then again, would have had would have had been able to get the unmasking without those 2 dice? Probably not. So
I don't know. I was already knocked out and stuff.
No, he was not. He was standing up.
Oh, okay.
And I had -1 dice for Yukai. And only 1 assist from the...
You only had -1 die on Yukai
I had...
for the first...
No,
Because you dodged or something. You moved him somehow.
No, not for when after the second turn of triple unmasking. I move him first time. I move him near because I thought I could get Vet Sakana as well, but Vet Sakana was too far. When I tried to get Vet Knuckles and Vet Sakana, and then Yukai came in between Gast and Knuckles. Because you needed to get close to Vet Sakana to fish to Legendary M to go score.
Yeah.
Was kind of a noble sacrifice from Yukai. But my lineup was Scalpel, Dirge, Vet Graves, Gaffer, Gast, and who was the last one? Oh, Cassette. Cassette because I thought with the Whisper token, and also she can charge for free, get some 2 influence I could put elsewhere because Scalpel is hungry and Gas is hungry in that lineup, and Gaffer is hungry on influence, so having 2 influence to basically reallocate to somebody else was pretty useful.
Yeah.
Because I thought of
choice.
Yeah. At first I wanted to use Pelage instead of Cassette. But you had too few male models, like only Knuckles and Sakana. So I figured her +1 damage would be less relevant, and Yukai is gender neutral as well, so I couldn't do bonus damage on them as well. So, and you have lots of Def 5 models, so she would only her attack 5. She would have just scratch the surface a bit. So that's why I chose Cassette to free charge and try to wreck some face. So I think Gaffer brings a lot to the beating Mortician team.
Yeah, that's an understatement.
And with Scalpel moving people around still, so it was pretty nice. I think I'm gonna use Mortician for a while again.
Yeah, I'll have to try playing a more beady fish team with Knuckles and see what he does there. I mean, I thought he was good even in my ball playing team. His kick's not great, but his ball recovery is excellent, right? So
yeah, his stretch
as kind of a goaltender, I thought he did a great job.
And you forgot about the dodge, the crowd out and the dodge as well. So. Yeah.
So, yeah, and then, so I lost the game, in turn 4. I ran out of gas. I didn't really score the winning goal I needed, and I clocked. And then,
I got 2 point off clock and I was able to score the goal. But it would have ended anyway.
I mean, I conceded. I had 25 seconds left on the clock, and it was 10-8 for you at that point.
Yeah.
And there was, or 11-8 actually at the end of my activation, and there was really nothing I could do. So.
Yeah. But, at least you made me work for my win.
It was a good game. It was enjoyable.
It's hard being on the back burner like that. 8-2 is rough to come back from, because especially with your fish, because the goal thread is so big, and I feel I have to be extra careful. So.
Well, that's kind of the point, right?
Yeah. And I think that's a wrap for us for now. There's 2. Actually, I've checked it. This one is supposed to be released on Thursday, the 25th. So by then, there's going to be other player around. It's going to be Lane for the butchers and Edge for the hunters. I wish I can try Edge sometime soon as well. So hopefully,
maybe I'm going away on vacation. Maybe when I come back next week, we can try them out. Pre-orders for the miniatures is Friday, right?
Yeah, it's going to be this Friday. So tomorrow, if the podcast is released on today, Thursday, the 25th.
Yes.
Otwan will program everything out.
You're time traveling on me, and I was lost for a second, but yes. So when the podcast releases on Thursday, the sales will go up the next day.
You mean today?
Yes, today. Hello, Kitty.
Yeah, stupid cat. Needs attention, I guess.
It must be female. No, I'm just...
Well, actually, it is.
All right, Steve. It's been fun. It's been months, so we'll have to do this soon.
Well, soon, because we have new players to talk about, and who knows, maybe a new iteration of the beta rules.
Hopefully.
So, hope you're enjoying your vacation so far, because we're Thursday, and you're on vacation.
Yes. Hopefully my vacation so far has been good. I guess we'll find out.
And I'll talk to you later, Paul.
All right. Later, Steve.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Geeks of the North. If you want to contact us, you can email us at geeksofthenorth@gmail.com. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/geeksofthenorth, or follow us on Twitter at Geeks of the North. You can follow me, Paul, at PRFilio, Antoine at Eltonio Berg, Steve at B_Steve, and if you really feel the need, I guess you can follow Yom. He's at Yomasta. Breaks and outro music by Ladrav. You can listen to them at ladrav.bandcamp.com. See you next time, geeks.
Thank you for checking out United Geeks Network family member. If you enjoyed it and are looking for other online media with a geek culture slant, head over to unitedgeeksnetwork.com, where you will find Who, What, Why, a game design podcast. A podcast that talks about the ins and outs of game design with game designers. The United Geeks Network. You can broadcast your geekiness at unitedgeeksnetwork.com.